Hi, good people. This will be part 18 of the Frogger mini-series, and in this video, we're going to create the score system for this prototype. Let's not waste any time and just jump right into it. Alright, so last we left off, we created a widgets folder, so we'll head back there and we'll open up the WBP underscore heads up display. And we're going to add in a high score. Now the classic Frogger has the high score in the top middle, so I think we'll try to imitate that. So in the left hand side, we can drag in a text element, and then for the anchors, we're going to select center top, and then we'll go back and control select center top, and then go back and shift select center top, so it kind of evens it out there for us. Now the text we want to display, I think we'll just do high score, all caps. And then we can come into the font, and I'm going to bump up the size a bit. Now it's going to offset it, so just check the box for size to content, and that should set it up center automatically after that. Now the next thing we need to do is add in one more text element. We're going to also place it center top and hold control and then shift. And then we will simply add an offset. We can do maybe... Actually, it will be in the Y. I think 68 works pretty good. And then we'll add in a fake score. We'll do maybe 10,480 because we're going to change that on construction, and we'll update it through the game manager the same way we do the remaining time. Now for the font size, I'm going to match it to be 48. And then I'm going to check the size to content button. And then for the color, in the original Frogger, the text is red, so we're going to try to match that as well. And that kind of just completes the HUD design. So now we just kind of need to add in the code. There is one more thing we'll want to change though. The details panel has this labeled as text block underscore number 2. What we can maybe call this is score. And then we'll check the box for is a variable, because we are going to update this through code. So after that, we'll head into the graph view, and then on the event construct, we can drag in our score reference, and then we can do set text, and then the text we want to set is going to be 0. So basically reset the score to 0. We can check, we show it says 10,000 or over 10,000 here. If we play the actual game, you can see it resets to 0, so we know that is working as intended. So we'll go back here, and we just need to create a function or an event to drive the updates. So we'll do add custom event. We'll call it update score. It'll have a singular input called new score. And then that, of course, will be a float value. And then we can grab in our score reference, call the set text function, and we could pass in the float value, which will automatically do a conversion, and then update the actual text anytime we call that. And that's pretty much the only code we need to add in the heads-up display. Next, we are going to be setting up the code in the game manager to drive the score system. So we'll come into our blueprints folder, and we'll double click to open up the game manager. And in the event graph, we did create an event for score, which we were just printing a string that said 100 points. So we'll go ahead and delete that, and we're going to add in some changes here. So to track the score, we have a player score float variable, but I think it would also be helpful if we add another variable called the score multiplier. That will also be a float value, and you could probably publicly expose that because you may change that on different levels. But for now, I think we'll just make it easy for us and just set it to be 100. And then what we can do is we can hold the Alt key, drag in the player score, and the player score is going to be equal to hold control and do a get. It'll be equal to the player score plus some score multiplier. So what we can do is we can maybe take the time remaining and multiply that against our score multiplier, and then pass that in here. So it's pretty simple code. We're basically just whatever remaining time we have, multiply that against 100, and then add that to the existing player score and set that to be the new player score. So if the player can complete the map or get to the other side quicker, they'll be rewarded with a higher score. So I think that makes sense. Now the last thing we need to do is we need to get a reference to our heads-up display. So we got a HUD reference already from the previous video. We'll do a getter, and then that should allow us to target those custom functions and custom events on the heads-up display. And we just created the update score, so we'll call that. And then we have our input variable that you can see as the new score. We can just take the return off the player score and pass that in there. And then another thing we'll probably want to do is, we didn't do this in the last one, but we should have, is when the player scores, we should also stop the timer. That way the timer's not going down while the player's respawning in the new position, because you could, there's a small interval or small window where the player could get killed before they're fully respawned, so, which isn't very fair. So we'll add the stop timer during the score event, and that should actually fix that small scenario should it come up. The other thing is the total time. We set it to 10 seconds just for testing. I think we'll do something more realistic, like 120 seconds. And that'll probably be a little bit better. So now if we save and play, I'm going to try to make it across the map here. And we'll go here. Oop, that was close. Nope, nope, nope. I didn't make it. All right, let's try that again. All right, there we go. Okay, so, and I believe we haven't set the water to kill us, so I'm going to cheat and just go through it here. And then we can hop up. So now when I score, you see I had 9,600, and it spawns me back way over here. So that's basically 100 times, you know, whatever the time bar had left on it. And that looks pretty good. Now what we can do is actually, let's just cheat a bit, and I'm going to move this over here. If we play instantly and come across, you can see I get a higher score. That's because I got there quicker, even though I didn't really get there quicker. I just cheated. That's the general idea anyways, but let's go ahead and also fix the issue with the water not destroying the player. So we can go to the add menu. This will be simple enough. We can just search for a simple trigger box, which is like a collision box. I'm going to reset the position and then drag it over here and place it kind of in the middle here. Maybe like somewhere around there. That looks good. All right, so for the box extent, I found that 1900 by 16,000 by 200 works pretty good. You can see it stays in the bounds of the water pretty good, and it goes across. So that should get us what we need. And then what we can do is come underneath, drag along the Z to bring it down. And I think I just want it slightly underneath the water. So the player can kind of touch the water, but as they drift down, it'll trigger the death state. So the way we can trigger that death state is we can come over to this little blueprint icon, and there is a open level blueprint. If we click on that, we're in the level blueprint now, and if you'll notice, the last thing I had selected was the trigger box. It's very important. So that needs to be highlighted. And then what you can do is in the level blueprint, you can right click, and you'll notice you'll have events for the trigger box. So we can expand out the collision events and add an on actor begin overlap. So when this overlaps with some actor in the world, we can do a simple cast to VP player, pass in the other actor as the object, and if that check is succeeded, basically if it is indeed the player, we can then tell it to call the player's death event. If it's false or any other actor, we'll just have it do nothing. Now with that simple bit of code, we can hit play. I'm gonna run across the map here. And now anytime I touch the water, it should actually destroy me. I'll actually see if I can get across. All right, we hop over here. And we can hop on the turtle. And then we need another log to hopefully show up before the turtles go underneath the water. There's our ride. We'll hop over. And then maybe I actually will make it across. And yes, looks like I can make it across, but that's no fun. So let's just go ahead and jump in the water and test if I can actually, wow. Normally I fail this miserably. There we go. So it causes the death event, moves me over, and that works pretty good. So we know that is working. But all right, everyone, I think we will cut it here to keep it short. In the next one, we'll add some foliage to our map to kind of flesh out the design a bit. But as always, thanks for watching, consider subscribing, and we'll see you on the next one.